Now, it's very noticeable that the WHO and Baxter Labs have been heavily involved in the appearance of this so-called swine flu virus several weeks later after the release of the contaminated vaccine by Baxter Labs. Scientists such as Adrian Gibbs have said that this virus comes from a lab. I had Dr. Leonard Horowitz on here about a month ago, who also proved conclusively that this virus is a recombinant. It was made in a lab. And one of the most alarming parts about all of this is that upon declaring a pandemic level 6, the WHO was granted extraordinary emergency powers over 194 countries, together with the UN and the EU, and these powers state that the WHO has the right to order forced vaccinations and quarantines in all of these countries. Now, you need to be crystal clear on this, folks. The World Health Organization has the authority to force people in 194 countries to take a vaccine that was developed supposedly to protect them against the artificial H1N1 virus that the WHO and Baxter Labs helped to create. Okay, they're giving you a vaccine for a virus that they helped create. Folks, I suggest that you trust these people about as far as you can throw an aircraft carrier. And let's not forget that included within the forced vaccination guidelines is the provision for martial law. For example, on April 28th, the Massachusetts Senate unanimously passed a pandemic flu preparation bill that mandates, among other measures, it says forced vaccination, treatment, examination or testing of all individuals involved in providing healthcare as perhaps one step before ordering the same process for all state residents. It says owners or occupiers of all premises to permit entry and investigation of the premises. So basically, it gives permission for the Department of Homeland Security to forcibly search everyone's homes and inject them with a contaminated vaccine. Oh, how very Nazi-like. It advocates closure, evacuation and decontamination of all suspected facilities, which of course will be any place that the Homeland Security sees fit, regardless of who or why. It also advocates restricting or prohibiting assemblages of persons, so there'll be no chance of organising any public awareness rallies or speaking out democratically. And there are several other states who may be planning similar measures as precursors to mandatory nationwide vaccinations and an overall suspension of civil liberty protections. Folks, the fact that these Nazis will do this and that the soldiers and police officers are actually brainwashed and brain dead enough to carry out such insane actions rather than arresting the criminals who gave the orders to them indicates a grave danger for the people. And this is why it's so important for public awareness of this issue. It's also why it's so important for police to wake up to themselves and to start actually doing their job of protecting the citizens, rather than defending elitist corruption and undermining the security of their nation, which is what they are currently doing. You see, that's the thing, folks. These police officers have forgotten that they are just people too. They have no real power. The perceived power lies in the uniform, not in the pawn that is wearing it. These police officers are removing their own rights as well, and ultimately it comes down to us to stop it. It all comes down to the people, police included, because that's the reason all this is happening. You can't blame Obama. You can't blame the criminal banksters at the top. You can't even blame the WHO, because it's all happening simply because the people are going along with it. It's all about free will, folks. It's whether you choose to allow this ridiculous situation to continue or whether you choose to shake off your TV-induced apathy, spread the word, and stand up and say no. So step away from the fear, folks. It's truly time for people to begin to understand the real power that they have. Just turn your back on the TV, turn it off, throw it away, throw a brick through the thing. Shake off the fear mentality, talk to your neighbours and stand up and say, no sir, we will not do this anymore. We are not numbers, we are not consumers, we are sovereign people and you are our elected servants. And we think it's time you begin to realise exactly what your position in the hierarchy is. You, the government, serve us. We do not serve you. There are only a handful of scumbags at the top who are doing this, folks, and With public awareness, we can very, very easily stop them. And not only that, we can also see that they are held accountable for their actions, and they truly need to be. So folks, it's up to us to do this, and we really seriously need to do it, because this is the big one. This virus is the big one, and we really, really need to address this issue. It's very, very important that we do. Whatever you do, folks, do not take this vaccine, and tell everybody you know, do not take this vaccine. This vaccine is bad, bad news. We've been predicting this for years, and here it comes. This is the one. So you need to address this issue. And make no mistake about this, folks, this is very, very serious, and I'm not asking you to believe me about this swine flu information. You can go to my website, thecrowhouse.com, take the link on the homepage that says Swine Flu Action. Go there and you will find a link to Jane Burgermeister's blog. You will find a link to the evidence that Jane has taken to the FBI. You'll find the Swine Flu Report by Dr. Leonard Horowitz, where he talks all about the Mexican flu outbreak and how this virus is a recombinant. Don't believe me. Go and research it for yourself, and you'll find out that everything that I'm saying about this is true. And you need to get this information, and you need to make it go viral. I'm going to be posting this as a clip on YouTube. I'm going to be posting it as an MP3 on my website, this radio show. You need to record this and give it to people, or at least print out the evidence that Jane has provided, and you need to give that to people. You need to make flyers and put them in people's letterboxes. You need to get this information out to people, and you need to approach your governments and let them know that you know this flu is a recombinant, that this flu is made in a lab, and you need to go to the police and you need to say there is a crime in progress and we wish to press charges against the WHO, against the United Nations, and against Baxter Laboratories. By the way, folks, one of the main shareholders in Baxter Laboratories is President Barack Obama. So you might also want to press charges against that lunatic as well. Make no mistake, folks, these people mean to depopulate at least 80% of the world, and that most likely includes you. So you need to meet this matter head on. You need to take the bull by the horns. It's time for all the good people to step up to the plate and to take action. The time for talk is absolutely over. What is needed is action by an empowered population who understand the true rights and the true power and the true sovereignty that they have. And that is every one of you, my friends. That is you. You are far more powerful than these government corporate criminals who are doing this. It's time to take our freedom back, folks. I mean, it's time to take it back. These people mean to kill us, and they're doing it right now. Make no mistake, folks, we don't live in a democracy anymore. What we live in is a state of corporate fascism. That's what we live in. We live in a situation where our governments are controlled by international banking systems which are completely and utterly corrupt. And we need to address this matter. This is what the controlled demolition of the global economy is all about. See, they've been propping up the dollar for so long now, for at least the last 30 years they've been propping up the dollar. And they're trying to control how it crashes so that they can seize all the assets and introduce the new currency that they want when it does crash. They're just trying to control the meltdown because they've been propping it up for over 30 years and they've really got no way of propping it up anymore. The dollar is gone, folks. It's all over. Things aren't going to get better with this dollar situation. They're just going to get worse. They have absolutely flooded the economies of all of our countries with worthless fiat currency that is worth virtually nothing. And there's nothing left to pay the bills. There's nothing left to pay the international debts. This whole system is set to collapse, I would say, before the end of the year. And there'll be some other new corrupt system that they want to put in place. We've also had the Pope basically calling for a world dictator and a new world order. I mean, these guys have got the pedal to the metal, folks, and we need to address this issue. We really do. There's so many things that need to be addressed, but the most important thing that needs to be addressed right now is this swine flu epidemic. And should your government implement mandatory vaccinations, then this makes your government guilty of genocide. And, I mean, I believe that mandatory vaccinations will probably spark some type of world revolution. And it would be nice to avoid this. It really would be nice to avoid any type of violent confrontation. What is needed is peaceful non-compliance by an aware and empowered public, because that's really all it would take. If people just wake up to the power that they have and just say no to this situation that we're facing, we can very, very easily rectify the problem. Public awareness, folks, that's the key. So you've got to spread the words. This is very, very serious, and if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Make no mistake about that. There is no grey area on this issue.